Okay, we're going with another three pounder here. I do a little bit of a egg shape on the bottom here. I'm able to get that guy down there. Now, we'll just press down first, try to get it bound. We're going to try to seal that on the bottom so it doesn't get any water to get under there and make it slip off. Not much pressure at all. I'm just kind of going to go to the little volcano. Making sure that we don't have any one side higher than the other, because that's going to create an imbalance problem. It's off center. It's just going to be a mess. Cut this guy out, because that little guy going back and forth is going to make my hand going back and forth. Everybody wants to know why they can't center. These little things are the reason why. Okay, now we're not centered now, but at least we got to get there. Speed the wheel up a little bit, get that centrifugal force going, press down, down, and out. Do another volcano here, because that will give us the ability to kind of knead this in place. Okay. Now that we have that, use my thumbnail here just to take off anything that was there. Do another down and out. And I like it. I can feel the clay is smooth. I don't feel a lot of bumps in there. So now I'm going to do the centering. I'm going to 7 and 2 come together and press it. Press that thumb down, release slow, got a nice center, get this slurry off of here. Okay, we got our indentation here already in the center. Gonna come down and speed the wheel up a little bit so I have centrifugal force. I'm basically letting my finger, as I push it, I'm letting the clay dictate where it wants to go, because the centrifugal force is basically going to make it go in the center. I'm trying to feel where that bottom might be. Now I'm going to open just a little bit so I can get my pin tool in there. Slow the wheel down now. I don't need to go so fast. Press that bottom. Make sure it's flat for right now. Just going back and forth. See where we're at. Come in there. There we are, and you can see it's probably a good ½ inch. I'm going to leave it, because I know as I do this compression right now, back and forth, kind of went down a little bit, back and forth. Okay, and now I'm going to open up some more. Looking down there, making sure I'm not going up or down. I want a flat bottom there, a little bit more compression to the middle, and back to the side. Middle, back to the side. That's going to help your S-cracks. I know I keep saying this all the time, but I don't want to drive the point home. So now, get my thumb is up under here, and I'm just going to tilt it like this. Okay, I can feel them dragging, so I need a sponge. There it is. Oh, we got a sponge up here too. Okay, so slow that down. Wet that up good. And now, do what I said. And I'm using this finger to push on that thumb to tilt it. Basically all I want to do right now. So that's about how thick the whole wall is. So we're starting out, right? Getting our first one going, getting everything lubricated here. Compressing this top down. And going back under here to get another grip, pushing on that bottom. Now I'm pulling up, straight up, straight. Okay, now, I don't know if you're going to be able to see this, but I felt a little bump in there, and I know it's not slurry. That's kind of one of the reasons why I don't like slurry, because it's hard to find the little air bubbles. Let's just clean this off here for a minute. And I can see it right there. So I don't know, I'm going to use this pin tool. I don't know, there you see it, right there. Let's see, how can I do this so the camera can see it? There it is, right there. See it? I'm going to poke it. There's another one there. I'm going to use my finger, get that air out of there, and we got it sealed. Otherwise, that air bubble just going to stay there, and when it gets in the kiln and fires, it's going to crack open. Okay, I'm going to just kind of massage that air bubble out of there. I just did. I'm going to come back here. I'm going to use a sponge, wet the outside, wet the inside. Grab that water at the bottom, slow it down. Start another pull from the bottom. Coming up to where that air bubble was. See if I got it. I felt it, but if you heard the air coming out, slow down. Okay, we flared out. So we're going to have to take that back in, make sure it's wet up here. I see water in the bottom. Okay, slow down. Now, close that back up. Don't want to flare out. Don't want to make a bowl necessarily. We could make a bowl, but we don't need to make a bowl. Okay. Because I pushed it in, it was a little thicker right here, so I'm just doing another pull, pressing that top. Okay, we got that air bubble out of there, I think, so far. I'm going to use the sponge. Okay, I'm going to wet the inside. Get down there and dry it. And now I'm going to use the sponge to do the next pull. Though I don't like this this flare at the bottom. So I'm just going to use this and go straight down. Take it out. You saw me, I actually made a mistake because it tried to bite the clay instead of that little spot I opened up for it. Let's get out of here. Yeah, better leave it. Don't want to get my finger stuck there. Okay, move this off a little bit. Now we're ready for our pull. I'm going to clean my hands. Down there at the bottom. Yeah, it's tough on that bottom. Down there at that bottom. Push that. So I'm not touching my hands and I'm using a sponge. A double whammy. I really have no idea could have went through that bottom of that pot. Got to be able to touch your hands and realize that the sponge has a thickness to it that you're not be able to feel. Slowing the wheel down, getting sidetracked with my brain. Release very slowly. Let's do a compression here. Okay, we haven't flared out too much yet, but there's water on the bottom. Just dripping on my hand, just my hand water dripping. It's hard to figure out how I'm going to figure. The taller I get, the harder it is to have your hands working together. Probably do it now. Just don't want to hurt the pot. If you're ever doing this, you're going to wind up having one side higher than the other. It just takes a lot of practice to have a perfectly centered piece and pulling it, making sure you're not getting that. But when you do, it's really easy. You just close it up, and then you're going to use your pin tool to cut it off. As soon as I get one, you'll see it. So let's get that bottom again, because it's now straight, and I want it indented just a little bit. So I'm going, and I'm just going to go in. I'm not going to give it any time I'm trying not to give it any time to move my hands. Hit the bottom of the bat. Come back and pull it out. Get the water in there so I can't grab it. Okay. You can see what happened there. Okay, use that sponge, clean that up a little bit. And now I'm going to use this tool to get this slurry off of here. Okay. Gotta be a little careful with this side. There's your slurry. Get that off. Gotta be a little careful with this side because it has that, where if you use the rounded edge, maybe it's better. But right now, this is such a straight cylinder. I'm looking at that edge to make sure it's not gonna get into the. As I get up here, yeah, it's okay. I don't mind. That's what it would do down here if I wasn't careful. Okay, now is going to come the interesting part. Because what we're going to do, make sure I have no water in the bottom of this guy. That's what these things are for, by the way. Okay, because I can get down in there, but you need to wet it first. Because it'll hurt if it's not dry. If it's dry, it's just going to drag on it. And this one really needs to be replaced because the nut is starting to come through, so I got to be a little bit careful. Get all the water out. I don't need much pressure here. I just need to get that water down there, out of there. Okay. Now, what we're going to do, shut this off for a second now. Don't lean over my piece. And grab some of this sodium silica silicate with some red iron oxide in here. And get myself a little paintbrush. The Bob Ross slapping. Woo! Okay. And then what we're going to do, I'm going to give it a little stir. Looks pretty thick to me. I made it last night, so a lot of the iron oxide's probably going to have absorbed some of that sodium silicate called liquid glass. Now, this is red iron oxide and this is white clay, and if I mix it into my bowls here, I'm going to start changing the color of everything. So let's just use this one rag and try to keep it contained. Okay, now what we're going to do is turn the wheel on, get some soda, kind of slow, it doesn't need to be fast. Get some of the silicate on here. It's going to start. Get your foot off the pedal. There's no reason to have it there. It's my problem always. I feel like I'm driving a car and I want my foot on the gas pedal. But you don't need it there. Gonna put it on. I guess if I would have made an indentation here, it would have given me a starting and stopping point. But I could always trim this down when I'm trimming and make a hard edge there. I guess at this point, since it's pretty wet, we're going to use our little flamer, harden it up, dry it, which hardens it up. Slowing that wheel down, I guess, as slow as I can get it to go. We'll take one more pass and see if we can't get another coat on there. Again, I like to know when the bat's drying, I get an idea of what might be happening. Yeah, I was seeing that as it was spinning. It kind of has this weird stuff happening, but that's why we're doing another coat. That seemed to darken it up. Once you got that dried. No pressure here, just letting the brush ride along it. Let's do another heating. I don't know why that's separating there like that, but probably going to add to the texture in the long run. You saw in the first one when I dried it how the second coat really helped out. Bottom line is this red iron oxide is pretty powerful colorant. And the sodium silica, yeah, see that? It's kind of neat. Maybe we should leave it alone. That's definitely cool. Okay. So, I'm going to leave it. What I am going to do is grab my nasty rag that has the red iron oxide and just try to get some of this stuff so it doesn't splatter all over the place. Still seems like it's rubbing, draining. I'm wondering if I shouldn't dry it some more. I don't want to touch it because once I touch it, I'm going to put my fingerprint marks in there, and I don't want to do that. Now that I got that off of there, I could watch it. Boy. Tough decisions, tough decisions. Why don't we just hit it again? Got this thing on Amazon for making flambés or some type of pastries. So it'd be in the cooking department. Man, what's happening there? So maybe I stopped it. You usually don't want to stop your wheel when this thing is going. Since it's all a texture, I'm not really going to worry about it. At this point, I'm going to use the sponge and I'm going to press and open it up. Okay, so look, this is what we have. We got this sodium silica on here. It's making some weird stuff, but you know, we'll deal with that. And now what I'm going to do is open it up. You're not going to see much until I stop the wheel. So we're looking down here. I'm looking for where I can open it. Clay is warm from when we were using the flamethrower. And I'm still looking here to see how far I can open. Don't want to open. It's starting to drag, so I want some water. Okay, so this is what's happening. You see that? We're starting to get a pattern there. Now what I want to try is something different. I'm going to shut this wheel off and let it stop. Okay? And you can, I can turn the wheel on and it'll help it stop. So I'm going to reverse the wheel for a second, turn it back on, and see. As I'm opening and the wheel's turning, it's dragging this way. So let's see what happens, because I have it, oops. Whoa, it wants to go faster. I gotta hold the brake on. All right, so now, oops, I'm not used to this. Come down, let's make sure we're really wet, I guess. Hands and everything. We'll dry that bottom in a minute. Still looking down here to see how I can open. Coming up, coming up, coming up. Back down, back up. Stop the wheel. Didn't look like we did anything different, does it? Nope. Okay. Stop the wheel here. I thought maybe the stripes would have went the other way. Okay, back to normal. Should I chance it and open it up some more? Yeah, let's see what happens. I don't want to open up to here, so I'm coming up here to open. hold your breath so you're not moving stuff around as well as I can do. Back down, back up. I don't want to collapse this pot, so I'm kind of stop there. Okay, like I said, I'll get that out of there in a minute. I think what I'm going to do is wet this lip on both sides and try to keep it, get that wobble out of there. Okay, compress down. Flare that out a little bit, I guess. Gently, nothing here. Just use the chamois. Get it nice and wet. Come over the top. Just hold it there for a second. And let's get the bottom dry. Sponge real dry. This will be the last of it. Down to there. Dry that bottom up good. And that's what we got. Kind of cool, isn't it? Once we glaze it, interesting. That's what we'll call it. Because when we've got to fire it to see how it comes out. This is only part of the deal. So I'm just gonna pull this, make sure I'm pushing down on the bat as I come back. Okay. And this red iron oxide I want off of my wire. Use my dirty rag here and get that off. Basically, we're going to let this dry, and I'm going to clean this bat once this is off to make sure there's no red iron oxide getting into my nice white clay. Shut this down and take that off, and so basically that's the texture we have right now. Okay, so let's see what happens when we take this further into the glaze stage. Again, 3 pounds of clay.